Hey guys, welcome back. We have been stalking Dark Knight's metal from day one, and we're not done. And as you guys already know, it's much more than just the main issues of metal, but it's also the tie-ins that have a lot to do with what's taking place here. And the Wild Hunt feeds into a lot of what we've been talking about here on this channel. We get some of our theories confirmed. Other theories are just teased a little bit more, like the man that the Batman Who Laughs had in the chair. We get teased on that a little bit more. And we're also given an additional hint to who he might be. And that's mainly because of the things that the Batman Who Laughs tells to him in this issue. But we'll get to that in a minute. But for you guys that I kind of think of as my fellow metal stalkers, because we continue the conversation down to the comments, we're on Twitter, over-examining like every penciling that Greg Capullo is uploading. From images of Batman rising back out of the metal, images of Green Arrow, which also feed into our other ideas and questions like where are Nightwing and Damian, especially with Nightwing undertaking his transformation, and they've both been MIA for a while now. And Darkseid, who's no longer a baby, he's fully restored now. And things like that really beg the question if that was actually Darkseid that we saw going up against Wonder Woman and Hawkgirl in Metal issue number 5. And so with the Wild Hunt, it's quite a bit different than what I expected from this issue to be. And that was just from my initial thought going off the title alone. And originally from hearing the title, I think it was like back in December, I was thinking that it was going to be a retelling of the accumulation of the different Batman, filling in the different gaps, but it's not. And I'm so glad that it didn't do that, because that just would have been crazy redundant. But what I like that it does is it picks up and it tells us where the last group of heroes went after Cyborg became Cyborg 1 million and freed the Justice League from the Batman Who Laughs when they were all attached to the Cosmic Tuning Fork. And the way that it's delivered, it's just mad cohesive. Because when Cyborg was upgraded and he freed everybody, they went back to Dr. Fate's plan. They split up into different teams, taking the Plastic Man egg to Thanagar Prime, with Plastic Man still in that egg form fighting off the different nightmares, and also being used as a power source for the Phoenix Cannon, and that Phoenix Cannon is firing at the metal located at the Earth's core, making it dark, and that's where Aquaman and Deathstroke currently are at. And also at that time at the Rock of Eternity, and they've since left, but Wonder Woman and Hawkgirl, they also have Hawkman's mace, which has been planned to use to guide the metal at the Earth's core once it's gone dark, to guide the Earth into the darkness. But as far as Cyborg, Raven, and Flash, we really haven't known up until this point where they went or what their portion of the plan was. And I just love that finally in the Wild Hunt we get to see where they're at and what they're up to. Because since this second time around, with a number of the heroes searching for more metal, Cyborg is kind of taking the wheel, so to speak, and he's taking the role of a coach, really setting the plans from here forward, and also filling the gap and taking the role where Dr. Fate was helping everyone in the beginning. So needless to say, it's a lot on his hands. But where we pick up here with Cyborg, Flash, and Raven, and I told you guys to look out for Raven, and that's why I went over her powers and skill set on a previous video on this playlist, and that's always down in the description if you want to check it out. But we talked about before why Barbatos wants Raven, and the possible role she could play to the benefit of the team with her special gifts and abilities. And she's really been doing it all along, so far mainly with just telepathy, but here with Flash and Cyborg, we get to see more of those abilities come into play. Most notably her ability to manipulate the emotions of others. And so where these three are at now is a place called the Bleed, and I really like that Scott Snyder made this decision to take them there, because the Bleed is like this fluid space between the different universes, and this is also where the War Cry Barbatos, which we talked about in the last video, is physically traveling through to get to each and every different universe. And I like that the narrative literally takes them here, because we talked about Hyper Time and we talked about the Speed Force both earlier in this series, and either one of those two can get you to the different Earths in the multiverse, but the Bleed is the actual ocean, so to speak, where all these different universes live together. And it's like that tangible sea of infinity. And all these things really tap right into that. The Cosmic Tuning Fork, it reaches through it to get to the different universes in the multiverse. The Ultima Thule is a ship that can literally travel through it and reach any universe that it needs to get to. And it all exists, connects, and communicates through frequency. And the Ultima Thule is the ship that they're using to travel through the Bleed at this moment. And because these different universes are defined by their specific frequency and they're accessed by staying in a certain key, so to speak, that's very much why we keep getting that music reference here in metal. And I guess I just personally gravitate towards that because long before doing these YouTube videos, I was producing music, some of which is still on iTunes and Apple Music, but that's just been one of my reasons why I've always been very meticulous about frequency. Because when you have a number of sounds going on at one particular time, it's very important, aside from being in key, that the frequencies agree with one another. And that's one of the things we're going to notice with Barry Allen in just a little bit. And I say that because also one of the mistakes that a lot of new producers have is when they make a track, they just throw a bunch of sounds in there, different frequencies are not agreeing, and that's why you can't hear all the instruments. And this is why it's important to know that musical notes are literally pitch, and specific pitches combined together make a scale, which is the structure of every song. And that's why when you know what key a song is in, by knowing your scales, you can then find chords that reach off of that scale, then you can play any song ever made, or access any universe in this case. But let me stop before I get to ranting about music, because in that case we're gonna be here all day. But I bring that up to better explain that while they're here in the Ultima Thule, riding through the bleed, searching for the House of Heroes, the war cry from Barbatos is also traveling out here and is messing up everything. So if the House of Heroes was a particular song, so to speak, not only is the Forge causing it to go dark, but you also have Barbatos who's playing another tune, while Raven is looking for this particular song on the playlist. And I hope that analogy just really makes sense to you guys. If not, let me know down in the comments. But on top of that, while they're here in the bleed, they're also being pursued by the Batman Who Laughs and the Nightmare Batman. And when I first seen them pop up here, it kind of threw me off a little bit. And that's mainly because Barbatos and the Batman Who Laughs, when the heroes first broke free and escaped, they were just like, let them go. But now all of a sudden they're chasing them. But when I kept going, then it started to make sense. And we start to see exactly what that reason is as soon as the heroes come up with their plan to use the baby universe that they see out here in the multiverse as a weapon against the Nightmare Batman. And so keep in mind, at this moment, much of the multiverse has gone dark because of what's happening right now at the Forge of Worlds. But because that process isn't fully complete, there are still pieces of light here and there, which offer the heroes hope or the opportunity to use them against the Nightmare Batman. And they plan to do this by using the pure positive energy from a baby universe that's been held in its infancy. And because this infant universe is so fresh from the Forge, and not even so much from its age, but the state that it's in its infancy, and it's been preserved in. But because its infancy state is still young and uncorrupted, the pure positive energy from its blast can be used as a weapon against a being of darkness. And that's the move that the heroes plan to make against the Nightmare Batman, by using this baby universe as a weapon against them. And when the Nightmare Batman attack, Dawnbreaker and the Drown go for Raven. And man, they were in for a shock. Like, this shocked me too. Because initially she's just teleporting back and forth, just evading them and buying time, but they make the quick assumption that she's running because of fear. But this is a daughter of a demon overlord, and she takes control of Dawnbreaker's constructs. But even more savage than that, she uses the constructs of his mother and his father to attack him first, literally going for the emotional jugular here. And for me, that just took her savage levels like off the charts. Because underneath it all, this is a version of Batman, and you're gonna make his parents try to kill him? That's just savagery at its best. And she knew she was bad for that one. But also here, Cyborg sends Flash, because really he's the quickest one who could do this in time. But he sends him to the Merciless to release those gravitational suppressor gates on that baby universe, which will in turn cause it to expand, creating a big bang of pure positive energy. And he literally does this in a blink of an eye. So when Red Death gets there to stop him, it's too late. And when he's hit with his pure positive energy of creation, his polarity is reversed, the Bruce Wayne who was once in there is gone, and all that is left is Barry Allen from Earth -52. And the reverse to gold is sick, man. He looks like a T-Priv 3. And I don't know if any of y'all vape or anything like that, but it's like a gold mod with the vents and everything that light up. And make sure you're of legal age before you do anything like that, of course. But that's the first thing that I thought of when I turned the page. But the messed up thing that we find out here is that this version of Barry Allen, he'd been tricked. And that was really one of the purposes that the Batman Who Laughs had, alongside with disabling the Ultima Thule and keeping Raven and Cyborg from disrupting the battle cry of Barbatos. This also was a trap for Red Death. Because amongst the different Nightmare Batman, the Batman Who Laughs has been suspicious of a few of them. And we get that same vibe from the Devastator, who calls out the Drown. Because while they're traveling through the bleed and you see all these different multiverses and these different places in time and these people you loved and missed, you see different versions of them, and she started getting a little sentimental. And the Devastator called her out because he thought she was going to be the first one to show a sign of mutiny. And so the Batman Who Laughs really wasn't chasing them after all, but rather he saw this as an opportunity to separate the wheat from the chaff and get rid of the weaker links. And to him, one of the weakest links was Red Death, because he was only half Batman and half Barry Allen. And by first getting rid of Bruce, who was consumed with all that raw positive energy, that still left Barry, who was still a product of the negative multiverse, charged up with positive energy. And that's when the Batman Who Laughs reveals that they've been shooting missiles of negative baby multiverses at the Ultima Thule that in turn turned it into a weapon, charging it with negative energy and aiming it at the House of Heroes. And because Barry is from the dark multiverse and charged with positive energy, the re-exposure to that dark energy tears him inside out. And I just can't begin to tell you what that did to me on the inside, because I was so excited to see this new Flash, and now he gone. Just here and gone like a Kanye laugh. And that hurt, man, like right in the feels. And hopefully, and this is a stretch, but hopefully he's like trapped in the Speed Force or something crazy like that. I know it's a stretch, but I'm just wishing, let me live. I'm just saying, can a brother dream? But when this happens, the heroes, they also realize that they've been used and turned into a weapon that's aimed directly at the House of Heroes. And this is where it gets trippy again, because when this happens, right before they make impact, they're contacted by a signal from Earth 53. And I'm looking just like you guys, like up until this point there hasn't been no Earth 53. But just before impact, they're saved by these people of Earth 53, which was a response to the Mayday signals that this Barry Allen was giving out earlier. Alright, so now for your guy in the chair, because just before the ship collides here with the House of Heroes, the Batman who laughs calls the Devastator so he can bring the guy in the chair to watch. And this is where we start getting our hints again, because he refers to the guy in the chair as the most powerful being in the multiverse. And when he tries to look away, he tells him, if you don't look, I'll peel off your cosmic eyelids. And it makes you think, well, who is this cosmic character who is the most powerful person in the universe, or the multiverse better yet? Personally, I think it's time for a Who's in the Chair Part 2. Let me know what you guys think about that down in the comments, because I have a few ideas in mind and they tie into some of the sketches at the beginning of the video as well. But we'll dive into that in a separate video if you guys want. But moments before that collision with the Hall of Heroes, we jump over to Black Hawk Island. And here on Black Hawk Island, not only is Detective Chimp still alive, because the last time we seen him, Dr. Fate and the rest of the heroes left him behind when the Nightmare Batman showed up. And because of his origin and the way he got his intelligence from drinking from the Fountain of Youth, and that's what practically gave him eternal life and also intelligence, but with the multiverse going dark, he's noticing that his abilities are being reversed. He's losing his intelligence and returning to a primitive state. And that's really just one of many signs of changes that are taking place in the multiverse. And this also gives us the hint that this can have a domino effect on different people and their powers. And one of the ways that they've been testing that degree of change is by boiling an egg. And in that example, they find out that the boiling temperature is now 106 degrees. And I'm assuming that's Celsius because water usually boils at 100 degrees Celsius. But that was just another one of the early examples that things were off. And because Cyborg, Flash, and Raven were using the wind harmonics from Red Tornado, they didn't realize that this old map was sending them into a trap. And Red Tornado soon after awoke and violently tried to warn everyone, but at that point it was just too late. And so just seconds before the time of collision at the House of Heroes, the same people from Earth 53 who contacted Flash, Cyborg, and Raven, they also show up at Black Hawk Island to save Detective Chimp and everyone else. And when I seen this, bruh, I was just like, is that a monkey? I mean, it just had me like, for real? Like, not only is it a Earth 53, but it's Planet of the Chimps. But either way, they did save Cyborg, Raven, and Flash. I just hope that they didn't turn them into monkey, because that would just suck. But either way, that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I know it's a lot going on in this one. It's a lot going on in metal, period. But I like to do all these theories with you guys so we can stay one step ahead like a true detective. I also got links in the description if you need to go back and check out any of the other videos and brush up on anything, and even see where some of the other characters are at during the time of this event. But if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe so you can catch these spills every week, and don't forget to hit that bell up top so we can always squad in the comments after every video. And that's mainly because I like to hang around for the first hour and chop it up with you guys in the notification squad. But like I said, that's it for this one, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Alright, later.